Long ago in India, there was a village of wild dogs. Those dogs all lived together in this little village, and they never went out of the boundaries of their village. They had the idea that it wasn't safe out there. The world was a dangerous place. So they just stayed in their own village, and they never went out to see any of the rest of the world. But there was one young dog who began to wonder about that. Is the world really as dangerous as everybody thinks? Maybe we're missing out on something. So that young dog went to see the wise dog of the village. And the wise dog said, "My son," would you put that away? It's distracting me. Thank you. "My son, if you want to go and see the world, go down the valley, across the bridge to the magic temple. And when you go into the temple, you will find out what the world is like." So that young dog mustered up its courage, and early one morning, he went down the valley. He crossed over the bridge and kept walking until he came to the magic temple. He was a little nervous. He was very apprehensive about what he might find in there. So he walked into the temple with scared eyes. And as he looked around in that temple, he saw 1,000 scared eyes looking back at him. He growled, and he heard 1,000 growls. He bared his teeth, and 1,000 dogs looking at him all bared their teeth. That dog began to bark. He barked and he barked and he barked, and 1,000 dogs looking at him barked and barked and barked. Suddenly he was so scared, he tucked his tail between his legs and he turned and he ran out of the temple, back across the bridge, back up the valley until he came home. And he said, "I'm never going there again. I'm staying right here in our village." And he did. But there was a young girl dog who thought, "Is the world really so scary as he says? I don't know. I really don't think so." So she went to see the wise dog of the village. And the wise dog told her the same thing. "If you wish to find out what the world is like, go down the valley, go across the bridge, and continue until you come to the magic temple. And there you will discover what the world is like." Well, the girl was so happy to know what she could do to find out that she set off joyfully, walking down the valley, across the bridge, all the way to the magic temple. She was so curious to find out what the world was like that when she went in, she looked around at everything with curious eyes. And as she looked, 1,000 curious eyes looked back at her. She smiled, and there were 1,000 smiles beaming toward her. She began to laugh, and 1,000 others laughed with her. She was so joyful and excited that she jumped up and down for joy, and she wagged her tail, and then she ran back home out of the temple, up the valley, across the bridge to the village to tell everyone. Well, she and that first dog who went to visit couldn't understand how what they saw in the same place was so different. So together they went to see the wise dog of the village. And the wise dog said to them, "Of course, what you see in the world reflects what you are inside."